I've said it time and time again, sequels aren't always necessary, and movies that are, or at least are close to perfection, should never be touched. However, Hollywood loves to capitalize on prior successes, which means almost any horror you can think of has had a sequel or a loose sequel that you didn't even know about. These are the top 5 dumbest horror movie sequels. Let's jump in. Coming in at number 5, we have Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. We discussed this movie a lot, and not in the nicest words possible, that's for sure. Released in 1987 and directed by Lee Harry, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is a sequel to the 1984 Silent Night, Deadly Night, which follows a young boy named Billy who witnesses his parents get murdered on Christmas Eve by a man dressed as Santa Claus. Fast forward in time, and the Christmas holiday leads Billy to have a full-on psychological breakdown as he dons a Santa suit himself and goes on a killing spree. It's a fun time, and the movie has garnered quite the cult following over the years. The sequel, however, oh boy, what a mess. The plot follows Ricky Caldwell, the brother of Billy, who also goes on a killing spree after experiencing the same trauma of his parents being murdered on Christmas Eve. Same plot, different character. The lack of originality is laughable. To make matters worse, 40 minutes of the movie, which I should state is only 1 hour and 90 minutes long total, is archive footage from the original movie, with the bulk of the movie simply being flashbacks. The acting is so bad that you often wonder if the entire thing was a joke that we all just weren't in on, or if this is something similar to The Room, an artist with no talent taking their work far too seriously. It has garnered a cult following, with it being considered a black comedy due to the lead's performance in the movie. Many moments have also been turned into memes, particularly one moment where Ricky shoots a man who is taking out the trash with him shouting, "Garbage Day!" The internet loved that. In at number 4, we have American Psycho 2, All American Girl. Now, I should preface this point by saying American Psycho 2 was originally never supposed to be a sequel to American Psycho. Instead, it was retrofitted last minute to become a sequel, but I'll get more into that shortly. Released in 2002 and directed by Morgan J. Freeman, not to be confused with Morgan Freeman, the film stars the likes of Mila Kunis and William Shatner, with the plot of American Psycho 2 following Rachel Newman, played by Kunis, a criminology student who is compelled to murder. Fun times. Essentially, Rachel is a killer learning about serial killers. Now, what made American Psycho so good was its commentary on the wealthy elite and the destructive lifestyle that often comes along with that. Not to mention, it was sleekly executed, with the driving force of Christian Bale giving a performance of a lifetime. It was a clever movie and is arguably one of the greatest ever made. However, American Psycho 2, well, it might be for the best to forget it ever happened. It fails to live up to its predecessor in any real way. Now, like I said, this was never intended to be a sequel to the hit movie and was intended to be called The Girl Who Wouldn't Die. However, as we know, that changed, and the movie kicks off with Patrick Bateman being killed by a young girl, with the young girl turning out to be Rachel Newman. Wow. Mila Kunis to this day is mortified that this movie exists, with her even stating, I quote, "Please, somebody stop this, write a petition. When I did the second one, I didn't know it'd be American Psycho 2. It was supposed to be a different project, and it was re-edited, but oh, I don't know. Bad." I love that quote. In at number 3, we have Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. I've discussed this unnecessary sequel in the past, and by discussed I mean absolutely tore apart. Released in 2000 and directed by Joe Berlinger, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2 is a metafiction psychological horror movie starring the likes of Jeffrey Donovan, Stephen Barker Turner, and Tristan Schuyler, with it following a group of teens who are all obsessed with the mythology surrounding the Blair Witch Project movie. So they head into the Black Hills, where it was shot, to see if they will experience any supernatural experiences. Now, arguably the worst thing they did when entering this movie was abandoning the found footage concept, instead creating a generic and boring horror flick that is completely unmemorable. Now, the movie was given the green light immediately due to the success of the Blair Witch Project, but I'm betting those people have regrets now, considering this movie bombed, and it bombed pretty hard. It doesn't even have a cult following, it's just aggressively bad. Now, the movie was originally conceived as a psychological thriller about mass hysteria, and maybe that would have worked, but what we got was not that, that's for sure. To quote one opinion on the film, this sequel to the Blair Witch Project is all formula and no creativity, mechanically borrowing elements from the original and other horror movies. Preach. It's cheap, with no thrills, that was simply made to capitalize on a successful and original concept that its predecessor created. Coming in at number 2, Jack Frost 2 Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. Honestly, I'm just so excited that I get to talk about this movie simply because of how laughably bad it is. Released in 2000 and directed by Michael Cooney, Jack Frost 2 stars the likes of Christopher Alport, Eileen Seeley, Marsha Clark, and Ray Connie, with it being a direct-to-video sequel to the 1997 horror flick Jack Frost, a comedy slasher which originally followed a serial killer named Jack Frost who was on his way to his own execution when the truck he was in crashed into a genetic truck. Classic. So of course you know what happens next, even if you haven't seen the movie. Jack's body mutates due to the chemicals and fuses together with snow on the ground. He is presumed dead at first, but then comes back as a killer snowman who is seeking revenge on all those who had involvement in his arrest. Now that the original premise is out of the way, let's discuss the highly anticipated sequel that was definitely not highly anticipated at all. Jack Frost 2 Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman takes place 1 year after the events of the first movie, with it once again following the killer snowman Jack Frost, who travels to Cabana after being resurrected in order to kill the man who was responsible for his death. Now, while the movie's predecessor was enjoyably bad and garnered a cult following, Jack Frost 2 is an absolute train wreck. The sequel is completely unnecessary and manages to be an almost carbon copy of the original, just in a different location with a lower budget and a worse script. It's not so bad it's good, it's so bad it's bad. And finally in at number 1 we have Exorcist 2 The Heretic. This is a perfect example of why you shouldn't mess with something that is already great. The Exorcist is an absolutely iconic movie, going down in history as one of the greatest and scariest of all time. However, when its sequel came along, the story was almost unrecognizable, turning something amazing into a laughingstock. Released in 1977 and directed by John Boorman, Exorcist 2 The Heretic stars the likes of Linda Blair, Richard Burton, and James Earl Jones, with it being the sequel to William Friedkin's 1973 movie The Exorcist, based on the book by William Peter Blatty. The movie itself is set 4 years after the events in the first movie, with now 16-year-old Reagan McNeil attempting to recover from her previous demonic possession, which took place in the first movie. Now, Exorcist 2 was considered a critical failure and has since been labeled as one of the worst films ever made. Some viewers even went on to classify it as an unintentional comedy, which is the last thing a director wants to hear when making a horror film. According to author William Peter Blatty, he was the first to laugh during the screening of the movie, with fellow audience members quickly joining in. Director of the original Exorcist, William Friedkin, compared the movie to a traffic accident, describing it as horrible stupid mess. BBC film critic Mark Kermode even stated, I quote, "Exorcist 2 is demonstrably the worst film ever made. It took the greatest film ever made and trashed it in a way that was on one level farcically stupid and on another level absolutely unforgivable. Everyone involved in this, apart from Linda Blair, should be ashamed for all eternity." Absolutely scathing, but hard facts, although why are we letting Linda Blair off the hook? I don't agree with her or her life choices. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any horror movie sequels that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos, top 5 horror movies where the villain wins. Dana Fisher said, "We need more Lucy in the studio. Can we get a collab with Lucy and Keegan, with Lucy being the star?" I mean, it's just the case in every video. I am the star. Keegan's a side piece. But we can do a collab one day. Charles Snow said, "I enjoy it when a movie subverts expectations to have a villain come out on top. Good guys can't hog all the glory, right?" With horrors, I think the villain should only win. No one needs to survive. The world's a horror movie. Goodwill420 said, "Why is she so cute, even with it being dark? Ha ha ha." Facts. No, I'm not cute. I'm evil. Don't compliment me. Unplugged Gaming said, "Eden Lake is a fantastic film. I've seen it once and I'll never watch it again. It leaves such a horrible taste in my brain, but by God, it's awesome. It may just be the worst film I've ever seen. In a bad way. No, in a good way. Scary but disturbing. I can't watch it again." To me right up. Sherwood Wilson said, "I'm dying. Lucy had me crying discussing the Neon Demon. Movie made me sick. Honestly, the Neon Demon might be the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. You couldn't pay me to watch that movie again. The eyeball scene? Ugh, no." Jared Devil Dog said, "This video was so much more enjoyable since you smile and don't seem so down." Thanks. Yeah, everyone said I seem really happy at the moment. I don't know why. I guess I'm happy. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and until next time, I'll see you later. No. I swear the first one was 98. Oh wait, I was talking about the...
Did I fuck you up or you just twisted the thing around?
I think I twisted everything.
Oh, 2002 initial release?
Oh, for this one? And the first one was 2000? I'll get more into that. Release in 2000, not to be confused with more for Siren Likes. Okay, no, I just typed everything weird. Okay, it's fine. Let's just go to the date and I'll change it again.
Yeah, 2000.
Wow, you got me. Okay, sick. All right, I see. Really? Oh yeah. I'm pale. However, American Psycho 2. Oh, off. Released into is everything.
I was just gonna say, any shitty movie here in 2000.
I've done something wrong if I just think everything's 2000. I think it's Curse of the 2000s.
Y2K.
Y2K. We should have died. Off. Demonstrably. Demonstrably. Is this a word? Demonstrably.
Never fucking seen that movie.
I don't know. Sometimes I just type so fast I don't even know what I'm putting. One level oh, me. This guy. Farcically. What?